Hello, we're going to make a video today, and this video will demonstrate how a user can create a RPM package from binaries of an already existing piece of software. The software we will be packaging in an RPM will be the VMware Horizon View Client version 2.1.0, which is available on the Ubuntu Partners website. These are the steps I'll be following in order to create the RPM. And first thing I'll do is I'll make a user ID RPM work. That's where we're going to do all our work from. They recommend that you don't create RPMs from root. We're going to build the directory structure for creating an RPM. That will be the next couple of steps. Then we're going to get the software. We're not actually going to go compile from source. We're going to actually have the binaries, so we'll only be doing like half of the process. And then we'll create a spec file, and what we'll do is we'll run that spec file in order to build out a little bit more of the directory structure. And then what we will do is we will finish creating the directory structure, copy over the binaries, and then create the RPM. Okay, first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to install the tools that we're going to, or the packages that we're going to need. So I'm going to go to root, and I'm going to do a yum install rpm-build is one package, and rpm-devtools is the second package we'll definitely need. Okay, and while I'm here, I'm going to make a user ID called RPM work, and I'm going to give RPM work a password of RPM work. Okay, and I'll exit out of here and I'll relog in as RPM work. Okay, I'm going to do the right click again in the middle of the desktop, open a terminal, and I'm going to run a command called rpm-dev-setup-tree. Now before I do that, I'll do an ls here, and you can, I'll do an ls in the home directory, and you can see what's there. And then I'll type rpm-dev-setup-tree. And if I do an ls, you'll notice that this directory rpm build was added, and inside of rpm build you'll see that there are some subdirectories created. I'm going to create one more subdirectory in here called build root. Okay, and next thing we're going to do is we're going to download the software that we're going to load, and it's already compiled binaries that we're going to be loading. And we're going to go out to Ubuntu, or Canonical I should say, that makes Ubuntu. We'll go out to their archive, and it's the Ubuntu pool partner, and it's under V for VMware, and VMware View Client. If I type that correctly, we'll get it. Ah, good. Okay, I'm going to drag down to the bottom, and there's one here that's gzipped and tarred. That's the one I'm going to download, and this should just go straight to the downloads directory for the RPM work ID. Then after this downloads, we're going to unzip it and untar it. Okay, we can close some of this. And if I CD back to my home directory and go into downloads, I should see that file. That's good. I'm going to actually, yeah, here I can unzip this. And now I can untar it. Okay, there's the binaries that we're going to be using. Next thing we need to do is create a spec file. So we're going to rpm build specs. We're going to this directory. And in the interest of time, I'm actually going to copy a file in here and just quickly go through it. And I'll copy this over from another machine. Okay. Now, one note here is if you want to make a spec file, you can just type vi, and I'll just make a dummy one here, test.spec. And if this file doesn't exist, and if I hit enter, because of that .spec ending, you're going to see that it brings up a lot of the fields that you're going to need if you're going to make your own spec file. I have one that's pre-made that I have used before for this VMware process, and we'll take a look at that real quick. One of the fields that I have here is the name. This will be the name of the RPM. This is the version of the VMware Horizon View Client software, and you could see that when we downloaded it from Ubuntu. I come in here, this is my release number, release 1, and this disk will put some stuff like EL6, and it will put the x86-64 extension on the RPM package when it creates it, so you know that it was a 64-bit version. This is just a summary of what we're doing. You'll be able to view this if you query the RPM information after it's installed. Here's the group. I just put it in the application system group. This is the copyright that's actually on the VMware software. This is the canonical site where we downloaded the software. One thing we need here is there's a thing called requires, and the GTK2-engines is going to give us some fonts. This isn't picked up if you just create the binary with the RPM. This is a package that needs to actually be explicitly added here, and where you see it says x82-32, this specifies that I want the 32-bit package or the i686 package downloaded. And then we also need a package called rdesktop, and then I have a little description in here of what the RPM is for. And prep, I just deleted everything under prep, deleted everything under build because I'm not compiling the software. I'm not then compiling the installing the compiled code because I already have code that's compiled. I don't have anything in here in the cleanup. I do manually clean out build root if I have to recompile. And then down in files, this is where I put the files that are going to be put into the RPM. Now these directories that you see here are all under the build root directory. That's what they're relative to. Okay, and I don't have anything for changelog. Okay, so we'll quit out of there. Now, if you remember, we have the build root. If I do an ls, there's nothing under there. I want to get a it'll basically be the name of the RPM package, but to get that, what I need to do is I need to come in here and actually build the package. It's going to error out, but it'll give me that other directory name under the build root. So we'll go rpm build -bb VMware Spec. Okay. And what it did was, it didn't actually make it, but what it did was it gave me the directory that I need to have, and it's that VMware Horizon View Client. This name here came from the spec file, and that needs to actually be under build root. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll say mkdir, and then I'm going to copy and paste that, and I'll hit enter. I'm going to actually do a change directory into this VMware Horizon View Client directory under build root, and I'm going to make a few directories that I know I'm going to need because I know what this package requires. One of them is going to be mkdir/opt, and one of the directories will be mkdir. So it'll be a directory path actually. User local bin. Oops. I need to put a little p here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a change directory, go back into downloads. And if you remember when we unpacked this set of binaries that we downloaded, so we're going to do cp-r, and we're going to VMware and then view client -2. When we unpack this, these are our binaries, and we're going to put this in /user/rpm-work home/rpm-work rpm build build root. And we have that VMware, that's the package, and these will all go under OPT. At the end of the day, these will live under the /OPT after the package is installed on the machine. And then there's one more file I want to put in before we actually build. Go back into the build root, back into the package name, and I'm going to do a change directory into user local/bin. And again, this is one that I'm going to copy over real quick in order to save a little bit of typing. So from another machine. This is actually a little script that's going to run VMware View. The binaries are kept under /OPT. Okay, and I didn't put load modules into my the load module libraries, the CentOS load module libraries, just to keep things clean. We'll take a look at this script. So there's some load modules that aren't readily easily available. So what I do, and they are under the binary installation, so I'm pointing the load library path at the binary installation libraries under /opt, and then what we do is we run the VMware View program from under the /opt/VMware View Client directories. Okay, and that should put everything in that we need to actually create the RPM. So we're going to go back into RPM build. And then what we'll do is we'll rerun the spec file. And this should actually build the RPM, unless I've missed something. Okay, when I go into, to find the RPM, I do a change directory and go into the rpms directory. That's where the RPM is going to live. Under the rpms directory, a subdirectory will be made when you do the RPM build, and it will have the architecture 64 or 32-bit, depending where you're building this. And there's the RPM that we built. I have another machine. I'm going to copy it over to this other machine and see if it will install and work. Let me go into root, get the IP address. Okay, the IP address is 148. We're going to copy this file over. We'll copy it to root. Okay, we copied the RPM over. Now we'll come over to the machine that we're going to install it on. And let's see if it installs. There's checking out the dependencies. Looks good so far. Okay, that looks good so far. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to I'm going to see if I can leave the virtual machine here, and I'm going to pause the video, and we'll come back when it's a little bit closer to being done. Okay, we're coming back now to the installation, and it's actually installed all of the packages, all I guess 66 of them, 67 of them. A lot easier doing this with an RPM than tracking down the packages by hand. And now it's verifying that they all installed correctly. This will just take a second. Okay, it's all done. We're now actually going to exit out of the installation, or the root, I should say, and we're going to take a look at how this package looks after it's set up. So if I go into /opt, I see the VMware View Client -2.1.0. This is that code that we copied over under the build root section, and build root /opt. And then we also, you'll see that when I do the which VMware view, it'll show me the executable that we copied over, which is the VMware View that's going to run. This is the script that's actually going to run. So let's go ahead and run that. If we run VMware View, boom, there comes your VMware Horizon View Client. I'm not going to go any farther than this in this video, but now you would type in your VMware server and then you would be all set to go. So that's how you create an RPM to install a binary RPM package that you've downloaded, and it will resolve a lot of the dependencies for you. I hope this was informational. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for listening.